Good evening. Day 18, I'm Robert Gibbons. Put yourself into a better place. And today I'd like to offer condolences to Reggie Baldwin and all of his family down in Florida. We share in solidarity in your grief and your loss. And we ask, put yourself into a better place. I'd like to honor my mother today, Dorothy, my father, Robert, my grandmothers, Versi and Maddie, my grandfathers, Sammy and Jethro, Ashe. We are moving, but we are feeling this great sense of loss, and to all my friends that have lost family and friends, we offer our solidarity today. I have a few poems to read to you tonight. I'll start off with my first poem, Blood Dazzler by Patricia Smith. And I'll read Patricia Smith's poem called Inconvenient. Inconvenient by Patricia Smith. Go. What again? What nuisance this back and forth? But even the blessed must bow to damp tantrums. Some network blathering, omnious graphics, and we pack the steamer with overnight, lash the boat to its moorings, wrap the new guest house up like some stern little package, and for what? So some dreary witch with a name bigger than she's worth can drip scare into nightfall. Turn one day, maybe two, into mist manicures, grayish harpings, dull diners of canned soup. Go. And this time, again, it's serious. What it is just more windy yelping by wild-eyed anchors, round-the-clock warnings followed by wet drumming in the flower beds, stretched nerves, maybe a hint of mold. At least twice a year we deal with the plumbed dramas of an oversold storm, watching as the sky bulges, leaks, melodrama postpones our garden parties. Best to consider this whole mess a holiday, a simple trade, one home for its vacation version. Best to cram our luggage into the idling Lincoln and wait while my husband revels in busy work, clawing through his toolbox, hammering a thumbnail and strengthening every room surface with tape. After he slides his pampered girth behind the wheel, we point the car towards rumored sun, scan the sky for signs. Again we run. Left to me, I wouldn't budge. Up here, the dollar sings. We pay for this boredom. And the title of this poem is called Inconvenience, from Patricia Smith's Blood Dazzler. Thank you, Patricia, for blessing us. Again, we offer our sympathy, our condolences to all my friends and family that's experiencing grief and loss. And because you experience grief and loss, I experience it too. And I share in solidarity with you. Ashe. My next poem is from my dear departed friend, Elizabeth Harrington, and her book is called Earth's Milk. We lost Elizabeth a few years ago here in New York. She was a poet and a psychologist, and this is from her work. Her book is entitled The Last Good Week. The Last Good Week. He is lying in a room with open windows, down to his blue boxers and nitro patch. It's hot out. Funny how we thought the heart would go first. I put my ear to his chest. I break open the cellophane in little light, pour 2 cups, and walk back to his room, balancing coffee and saltines. He is sitting with his back to me, in that silly hospital gown tied at the neck, as inadequate as the white lies that bloom here. The hospital is a shiny dream with caves of sleeplessness. Sockless, the feet are growing cold. He's making a list of the first ones to be notified. Orderlies and angels and loiterers and dreamers. Loiterers has only one T, I tell him. He has many beings. I have seen 3 of them in a dream. I am collecting them. It's almost like stealing. Outside his hospital window, a helicopter lands on a roof. A body waits to be lifted. Heavenly cargo, the wind so fierce. Are you scared? When he used to lift me, I became small in his arms. He'd clench his pipe and take the porch steps, swirling me in clouds of smoke. Cleave means to hold on and to split asunder. The title of this poem is The Last Good Week, from my dear departed friend Elizabeth Harrington, from her chapbook collection called Earth's Milk. Thank you, Elizabeth, for blessing us. The next poem is from 100 Selected Poems by E. Cummings, and I'm going to read poem number 35 from E.'s collection, and it's entitled 35. Somewhere I have never traveled, gladly beyond any experience. Your eyes have their silence. In your most frail gesture are things which enclose me, or which I cannot touch because they are too neat. Your slightest look easily would unclose me, though I have closed myself as fingers. You open always, petal by petal, myself as spring, open, touching skillfully, mysteriously, her first rose, or if your wish be to close me, I in my life will shut very beautifully, suddenly as when the heart of this flower imagines the snow carefully everywhere descending. Nothing which we are to perceive in this world equals the power of your intense fragility, whose texture compels me with the color of its countries, rendering death and forever with each breathing. I do not know what it is about you that closes and opens. Only something in me understands the voice of your eyes is deeper than all roses. Nobody, not even the rain, has such small hands. And that's number 35 from E. Cummings, 100 Selected Poems. Thank you, E. for blessing us. The last poem. Thank you so much for allowing me into your virtual company tonight. And I have heard from many friends and many family suffering grief and loss. And I express my deepest sympathy and share in solidarity with you tonight and forever. The last poem comes from John Ashberry's Chinese Whisper, and I'm going to read the title poem, Chinese Whisper, to end this segment tonight. Chinese Whisper. And in a little while, we broke under the strain. Superation ad nauseum, the wanting to be taller, though it's simply about being mysterious, not taller, like any tree in any forest, mute. The pancake describes you. It had tiny Roman numerals embedded in its rim. It was a pancake clock that had them in those days always getting smaller, which is why they finally become extinct. It was 100 years before anyone noticed. The Governor General called it sinuous, but we had other names for it, knew it was going to be around for a long time, even though extinct, and sure as shillygogs fall from trees onto frozen doorsteps, it came round again when all memory of it had been expunged from the common brain. Everybody wants to try one of those new pancake clocks. A boyfriend in the next town had one. but conveniently forgot to bring it over each time we invited him. Finally, the rumors grew more fabulous than the real thing. I hear they are encrusted with tangles of briar rose, so dense, not even a prince seeking the sleeping beauty could get inside. What's more, there are more of them than when they were extinct, yet the prices keep on rising. They have them in the Hesperides and in shanty towns on the edge of the known world. Blue with coal, all downtown used to feature them. Camera obscura. Two were big that year, but why is it that with so many people who want to know what a shout is about, nobody can find the original recipe? All too soon, no one cares. We go back to doing little things for each other, pasting stamps together to form a tiny train track, and others, less noticeable things. The past is forgotten till the next time. How to describe the years? Some were little blocks of the palest halvas, careless of being touched. Some took each other's trash out, put each other's eyes out. So many got thrown out before anyone noticed. It was like a charusco of collapsing clouds. How I longed to visit you again in the old house, but you were deaf or dead. Our letters crossed. A motorboat was ferrying me out past the reef. People on shore look like dolls fingering stuff. More keeps coming out about the dogs. Surely a simple embrace from an itinerant fish who had been spurned at certain periods. Not now. There's a famine of years in the land. The women are beautiful, but prematurely old and worn. It doesn't get better. Rocks half buried in bands of sand and spontaneous execrations. I yell to the ship's front door, wanting to be taller, and somewhere in the middle of all this gets lost. I was a phantom for a day. My friends carried me around with them. It was always turns out that much is salvageable. Chicken coops haven't floated away on the flood. Lace makers are back in business with a vengeance. All the locksmith had left town during the night. It happened to be a beautiful time of season, spring or fall. The air was digestible. The fish tied to love knots on their gurneys, yes, and journeys, were palpable too. Someone had spoken of saving appearances, and the walls were just a little too blue in mid-morning. Was there ever such a time? I'd like to handle you, bruise you with kisses for it. Yet something always stopped me short, the knowledge that this isn't history. No matter how many times we keep mistaking it for the presence, the headline trumpets each day. But behind the unsighting school building, now a pickle warehouse, the true nature of things is known, is not overwritten. Yours is a vote like any other, and there is fraud at the ballot boxes, stuffed with lace valentines and fortunes from automatic scales, dispensed with a lofty count of charity, as though this could matter to us. These tunes carried by the wind from a barred organ several leagues away. No, this is not the time to reveal your deception to us. Wait till reign and old age has softened us up a little more. Then we'll see how extinct the various races have become, how the years stand up to their descriptions, no matter how misleading, and how long the disbanded armies stay around. I must congratulate you on your detective work, for I am a connoisseur of close embroidery, though I do not have a diploma to show for it. The trees, the barren trees, have described more than once. Always they are taller, it seems, and the river passes them without noticing. We, too, are taller. Our ceilings are higher, our walls more tinctured with telling frescoes, our dooryards both airer and vaguer according as time passes and weaves its minute deceptions in and out a secret thread. Peace is at a full stop, and though we have some chance of slipping past the blockade, now only time will consent to have nothing to do with us. For what purposes we do not know. This poem is entitled Chinese Whispers, from John Ashberry's book, Chinese Whisper. Again, I thank you so much for sharing this time with me. Tonight, I started off with Blood Dazzler by Patricia Smith. I also shared Elizabeth Harrington, my dear departed friend Elizabeth Harrington's Earth's Milk. I went into the 100 selected poems of E. Cummings. And I ended tonight's segment with Chinese Whispers by John Ashberry. And to all my friends everywhere, and to their families, and to community, and to our nation, put yourself into a better place. This is Day 18. I'm Robert Gibbons. Thank you so much for sharing this moment.